Hi Scrappy friends, I have a Art Party Friday video for you today and I am using my gelatos. So I was very much inspired by the flower and the softness part of this inspiration piece, and I really like gelatos for the fact that you can accomplish more of a softer feel with them. You can definitely get a harsher feel if you use them. You press down really hard, but I try not to overdo it, and I'm using a really big brush with lots of water. I find that this helps, and you're gonna see me go through this again and just get even some more of the color off. So I did use clear gesso on the background of this, so that really helps with the gelato, so it helps move it around. Otherwise it kind of gets stuck in one place and then you can't really play with it as much, and that's not really the look that I'm going for. So as you can see, I'm really trying to keep it really nice and light. I really like the way that it's kind of moving around right now. I've used quite a bit of water, and when you use the gesso, that really helps keep it moving. And I'm liking the drippage a little bit, but it's kind of a lot, so I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll blot it. And I don't necessarily like all of the marks from the paper towel that it's leaving. So that texture, when you use a dry paper towel on something wet, you'll get the like little grains in there of what the paper towel looks like. And sometimes that's a fun thing and sometimes it's not, and I really did not want that. So I went through and I just used, which I really like because it added and took a little bit more of the gelatos off to give that feel of it being really light and stuff. So one technique that I really have been wanting to try is on Pinterest. I seen this card that has these like dots with an eraser of a pencil, and so I'm using my pen because I don't have a pencil with an eraser, go figure. And so I thought that this would probably work pretty well, and I'm using the white. I use that green with like a pearlized white color so it's more translucent, and then I'm mixing a little bit of the charcoal black with that white to get like a really light gray to kind of match the mood board, and I really like the way that it turned out. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll just add a few splatters, because one thing I find that where I am, it's super humid, and whenever I use gesso and I use Heidi Swap with the black, it takes forever to dry. So I like to use whatever paints I'm using as a splatter, and then I can just add it now and not worry about adding it at the end if I don't really want it. So I'm just using some of this gray. I really had to water it down because it did not want to fling onto my paper. As you can see, I'm really flinging it and tapping it. But in the end, I really did like it. Didn't give too much splatter, which is really what I wanted. I didn't want to go crazy. It looks like I went crazy, but I didn't. I promise. So I let this dry, and I actually let this dry overnight. It would have been ready if I had let it dry a little bit longer, but because I used that pen, it had pockets of wet acrylic paint, and there's nothing like dipping or setting your picture down and it get in the middle where it didn't quite dry. I hate that. So I really wanted to avoid that. And of course, because it's really warped, because of all the water that I use, I had a really hard time cutting this down. I even cut myself because it just did not want to cut for me straight. So I had to do it a couple of times. Otherwise, I might have left a little bit more of a border, and because I really love this background paper that I'm using, and so I cut out the middle bit, but I didn't want to cut out too much because this paper is really warped, and it really could use that extra bit of paper behind that cardstock to just give it some. And I'm ruffling the edges just a little. I mean, you're really probably not going to notice it too much, but. And then I also did want to box something in just a little bit more. I really like this black line just around, and I'm using the Emoji pen, and it's a 0.38, so it's pretty thin, so I can go through a couple of times, but it still's not like a really, really thick line. And then I just add a few little techniques. Now, so this is all that I'm doing as far as mixed media goes. The rest of it, I'm just going to layer some stuff and, you know, just have fun. I really lately, when I even do mixed media, I've been trying to keep it pretty simple just because, I don't know, I'm really liking the white space, which is why I just put a strip in the middle, so that I will still be able to have quite a bit of light space, but that you'll be able to see the colors peeking through. And I really wanted to use some colors that were, one, in the background of my photo, because in the back you can see lots of green, because we are in Hawaii. I'm in Hawaii, and so there's lots of green. And then I want to use some colors that are in the background, so I'm going to use some pinks. And I really thought of the Bloom collection as far as like this mood board goes. I didn't pick it because of the Bloom collection, like I didn't make the mood board based on that, but when I seen it this time, it really made me think of the Bloom collection and flowers, and I rarely use flowers and stuff on my layout, so at this point I don't know that's where I'm going. I actually thought I was going to use that banner paper, but I don't because it did have some of the greens that I was thinking, but I end up just using this striped green. I really like that stripe. It's going to help bring out just a little bit of the green but not overwhelm it. And really in my dots, there's only a few green pieces in there, so really it kind of helps. It really does just help the green seem like it's there and not on, like that it's there on purpose, but not overwhelm it. And so now I'm just kind of looking through the C'est La Vie Pink Paisley collection, because I knew they had some pinks and some really fun colors and watercolor looks, and so I am going to stick with some of this, and I'm going to use that. And I'm not really sure. At first I think, oh, I'll just, you know, use it as another layer. But then I'm like, well, it has a stripe just like that green stripe. So I'm thinking that maybe I'll leave it the way that I have it like this. I kind of like it with the chow sticking out. It's just kind of fun, just like the picture. Now this picture, if you don't recognize who the other lady in this picture is, besides me, is Jen Stokes. She went to Hawaii on vacation with her family, and we met up, and it was really, really fun. We had coffee and we chatted for a little while, and it was just really, really fun. I've really gotten to know her with her being on the Crafty Maven, and so to be able to get to see her in person, it was just really fun. And I really hope that we can continue to be really good friends. You know, even though I know she's not able to scrap as much. I mean, we all have those times, right, where we can't do everything that we want to do. So here I'm pulling out the flowers, guys, and I'm thinking this is the perfect layout to add flowers, because, I mean, I could add flowers with my girls, like, but I don't know. They just seem so young, and these flowers are a little bit more sophisticated, and I just feel like they kind of work. They really work with the mood board. They really work with just the greenness, even though there's not really a lot of flowers like where we were. But, you know, it really just kind of adds that fun element. And so I had kind of layered everything as you had seen, and then so now I'm going back and gluing it all down, because this is what I do. You know, you would think that I would maybe put a little bit of something on it to glue it down beforehand, but no. So then I have to go back through, but that's okay. I kind of play around with it. I stuck some stuff on dimensional dots, like you'll see that flower, that one flower under near the hello is on a pop. It's not really a pop dot. It's that green mounting tape that is dimensional. So it's a little bit thinner than like a pop dot, but it gives dimension. I really like that. And then this heart ends up getting a dimensional element to it. I really like that. It really helps with the love this, and I really just like that little cluster down at the bottom. Now, so here is part of my thinking though. At this point I realize, and I know that my top half is really, really heavy. Like there's a lot going on. The pictures there's lots of layers. It's all going on. And so at this point I'm thinking, okay, what can I do to help with this? Even though I'm still thinking about, is there other stuff I can fit in layers? And what else can I put around my photos or my photo and to just kind of complete it? So I do kind of add some stickers and stuff. I really love these black Pink's Paisley, and this is going to end up going down near the bottom layer in a minute, just because I don't know, it just seemed too boxy. It just almost seemed like too much, even though I am going to add more stuff up there anyway. And I just really like the little phrases. They're nice and fun. They're fun to stick in. That one has hearts on it, so it's just fun to add a little bit of black and white, or gold actually. Black and gold. So I'm going to use one of these washi strips down to the bottom, and it's going to add a little bit of pink and add some of the black and stuff that the top has going on. And then there's these puffy stickers. I thought about using that fun or that really that pink remember, but it just didn't seem to fit right, and I could have left it there, but I just wasn't feeling it today. Sometimes I'll leave stuff and decide to like it, and then sometimes it just didn't work. I wanted to find something better. So then I see this hello today, and it has a little bit of that pinky coral color, just like the top layer. And so I'm going to use that, and then adding that vest in there just kind of like fills in that spot, but doesn't make it feel like it's too heavy. And so I do add some chipboard to that, because that banner with that heart on the side next to me has that in there. And then I'm going to add this also just to that cluster. And so now, besides the fact that I'm just keep adding more stuff, I am thinking about, okay, I want to get my title going, and I knew I wanted it down at the bottom because I needed something to help. And at first I wasn't really sure what I was going to put. At first I was thinking maybe I'll do United and that gold. That's a really fun gold. And then I remembered I still had some of these Amy Tan thickers. These are like my favorite thickers. One of them. I have like 3 or 4 packs that are like my favorite, right? And of course I don't have a whole lot of letters left, but I did have enough to spell friends minus the E. And so I'm going to steal the E from that United, because I was going to put Friends United, but then I was like, I don't know. It just seemed funny. And so I'm going to stick with Friends. And then I'm just using these little block letters, the Mini Market stickers from October Afternoon. And they're in like a chalkboard color, so that gray really helps. It kind of goes with the mood board a little bit and the other colors that I have, because I don't really have, besides that frame and a few other things, I have a lot of more grays than I do of, and I thought about using that yay there. I will move it up to that heart near Jen, like that cluster up near Jen. But and it just says meeting friends. I thought that was kind of fun. And so later I'll put the journaling on. I'll probably end up sticking it more towards the middle, like closer to the title, just to kind of bring that heaviness down. I didn't do the journaling yet. Sometimes I do it right away, and sometimes I do it when I go to put it in my album after I do the voiceover. But here are some close-ups, and I hope you guys have a great weekend this weekend, and I hope to see you guys around. Bye!